The War Within is here. The Worldsoul saga has begun. And yes, while this new expansion is the first step in the grand tale of a 3-expansion trilogy, it is still an expansion in itself, which means there is stuff to do at max level. If you're feeling lost or just not sure where to begin, this video is for you, so buckle up and let's party like it's 2008 because you're level 80 again. So the question of what do I do at level 80 is actually pretty easy to answer these days, especially if you played through Dragonflight. However, the latter bit of Dragonflight did shake some stuff up, which now affects how soon some other things become available. Let's take a look at what is available. So of course, you've got the usual stuff. Once you complete the leveling campaign, there is of course more campaign to play through at max level. If you skipped over doing side quests, you will probably need to go ahead and complete some of those to actually make it to 80, if you haven't been doing dungeons or something along the way. At the time of making this video, the final chapter of the campaign is not yet available, but will become available next reset. Anyways, with the campaign done, there are plenty of side quests to complete above and below ground, and Blizz really stepped up their game with this from Dragonflight. Completing pretty much everything leads, of course, to the new Khazalgar Lore Master, which awards you with the simple outfit of the Crimson Cartographer's Orientation. However, I do want to point out that some of these side quests are actually just really well done and well written. I actually do recommend slowing down, reading through the quests, and enjoying them. There's some good stories hidden out there, so sit back and read them to enjoy what's on offer. Of course, there is a Pathfinder achievement, which unlocks steady flight like in expansions past. If you prefer the old school steady flight as opposed to skywriting, it's actually much easier to unlock this time, and also available right from the start instead of waiting for a future patch. All you have to do is complete the campaign, which we already covered, and fully explore every zone. This of course will net you the Khazalgar Explorer achievement, which is a requirement for Pathfinder. And that's it. No grinding rep or time gating, except for the last chapter of the expansion becoming available in a few days, and you can just straight up get steady flight. Finishing the leveling campaign also unlocks world quests around the map for you and all of your characters, which you can use for rep, XP, and gear, as well as the new upgrade stones, which are called Valor Stones, and of course the new crests for the expansion. While flying around for world quests, keep an eye out for any rares or treasures lying around, as they can be handy for some loot, if you're lucky. The gear from these sources might be helpful in jumpstarting your item level enough to enter heroic dungeons, which are of course the next thing you can do once you're eligible, at item level 551. Doing these should be a decent method of getting some more gear to prep for Season 1. Speaking of Season 1, what's the deal with that? Well, fear not, it doesn't begin until September 10th, which means you have some time to digest the expansion and actually enjoy it. Different from previous expansion launches is that you actually can't do Mythic Zeros right now. Those are also locked until the beginning of Season 1. Reason being is because they are a much higher difficulty activity than before, meaning that their loot is a cut above what it used to be. So that's something else you don't have to worry about for now. This also means that the PvP season hasn't started yet either, and of course, we don't have the raid yet. With Season 1 a bit away, the pressure is off for the most part. You can always use this time before the seasonal treadmill begins to think about leveling alts. Thanks to the Warbands feature, there is something that will make leveling alts feel a bit better. Every character on your account that hits 80 will earn these Warband Mentor achievements, with each one adding a 5% XP boost to every other character below 80 on your entire account. It doesn't keep going up, it does cap out at 25%, which is still very cool. So don't be shy and check out some of the other classes and their new hero specs as we wait for Season 1's arrival. Now with all that said, there is some more stuff to do that is more specific to the War Within. The first major thing of course is the Earthen allied race. At the time of making this video, they actually aren't unlockable yet, as the last chapter of the War Within campaign is required to unlock them, which we covered, releases next reset on September 3rd. But there are some other requirements for them which you can get sorted out now, and if you're keen on doing some of the stuff I've already listed, the good news is you will have already completed these tasks just by playing the game. The requirements are actually pretty straightforward. Number 1, complete the full leveling and max level campaign. This is the thing keeping them locked right now in the first week, but the final chapter should become available on the 3rd, like I mentioned. Number 2, completing 3 side quest lines related to Earthen Society. These storylines are Morning Rise and Merrick's and Steelvein in the Isle of Dorn, and then Broken Tools in the Ringing Deeps. The 2 from the Isle of Dorn are actually really nice little storylines, and the Broken Tools one is fine, I guess. Morning Rise can be started here, at an NPC named Corgrin, with a quest called Before I Depart. Merrick's and Steelvein can be started here, by an Earthen named Aldra, with a quest called How Scandalous. And finally, Broken Tools can be started here in the Ringing Deeps, with a quest called Discarded and Broken from a guy named Machinist Kitrin. Broken Tools is really short, only 3 quests long, but the other 2 are much longer. I do encourage you actually to read the quest text, especially for the 2 in the Isle of Dorn, and pay attention. They are both really good stories. Anyways, completing all of those and the entire campaign, and that's it. No rep grind like the allied races of the past. You just head on over to the embassy afterwards and you can roll one. While I'm sure many are not as excited for the Earthen as some of the previous allied races, I still think they're decent enough at least. I'll be sure to try to make the most out of the warrior I plan on making. Besides the Earthen, something else brand new in the War Within are delves. While we can only progress up to tier 3 right now, we will soon be able to progress all the way up through the tiers. The first 3 tiers will likely become easy enough for many players, but once the rest of the tiers are made available, it will be something fun to progress through for the season. When the rest of the tiers do become available, only up to rank 8 actually award gear upgrades. Anything above 8 is just purely for the challenge and prestige. For now though, it is a good time to get to grips with the new activity type, since they are intended to be a new pillar of endgame and are here to stay as a permanent addition to the game, alongside raids and dungeons. So get in there and get used to them. You'll probably be running them a lot. You may have noticed on your map that some of the delves have a lit up entrance icon. This means that they are marked as bountiful. If a delve is marked as bountiful, it means that you can unlock a special coffer at the end with a bountiful delve key that awards much better gear and other rewards than the other random chests. Unlocking the bountiful chest will consume the bountiful status, so it's another weekly source of decent loot that you can do by yourself. The keys themselves come from a whole lot of different sources, which leads me to the world events. If you played through Dragonflight, then these will feel pretty familiar to you. Just like the Siege on Dragonbane Keep or the Soup, War Within has a selection of events that happen at a certain interval, or can be triggered by you when you want to do them, or just up all the time. Each is different from the other and gives a different gameplay experience. In the Isle of Dorn, you can take part in the Theater Troupe, where you get assigned individual tasks to build up a meter of audience approval while getting a play set up and then acting out the play. This feels a lot like the Big Dig or Soup from Dragonflight, but in 2 phases. In the Ringing Deeps, you can do the Awakening the Machine event, where you help with some Titan machine maintenance. This is like a wave defense mode, where you protect your Earthen friend in the middle, with the reward increasing every 5 waves, and maxing out at 20. As a currently pretty undergeared arcane mage, this is kinda tough for me right now to juggle all the enemies. In Hallowfall, you can help out the Arathi by spreading the light. This event spawns a bunch of world quest-like activities around the big light crystals, which award packs that have some currency in them, and low chances for other stuff. You can also collect these crystals that then you turn into these little mini light fountains, which will spawn NPCs that give weeklies. This is a really good source to farm up resonance crystals, which are kind of like the Dragon Isles expedition supplies, the thing that you use to buy everything from the renowned vendors. This event kind of feels a lot like the Legion invasions or the faction invasions from BFA. There will also be a big objective to do that awards the weekly cash, so keep an eye out for those as well. Each event awards a cash weekly, which rewards an assortment of gear, currency, gold, gear upgrade stones and crests, or other rewards. These caches can also reward the restored coffer keys, which, like I mentioned, can be used to get big weekly rewards from the Bountiful Delves. Another reward that you can get from the Bountiful Delves that I didn't mention before were these Radiant Echoes. These allow you to take part in a Worldsoul Memory event, which rotate daily around the map. Once you slot in your Echo like a coin in an arcade machine, you have 5 minutes to blow up as much stuff as you can. The more you do, the more Valor Stones and key fragments you can get. You can even slot in 5 at a time to multiply the effect to ×5, which is pretty handy. And there's also a mythic difficulty to these, which I have not tried, but if you die during one, apparently you get locked out. Fascinating. There's also a fishing derby in Hallowfall for some neat rewards, and skywriting glyphs to collect in each zone. So yeah, there's a ton to do. I also want to touch on Azj-Kahet, which has a couple similarities to both Suramar for all you Legion vets out there, but also the Black Dragon grinding from Dragonflight combined. If you tossed both into a pot until they melted together, you'd get something like this. You can build your rep for the 3 big Nerubian allies by doing a variety of tasks, which I won't go into detail here since a whole video will probably be best for this. The basics is that you get to pick one many-legged friend to pledge to per week, and that choice sticks for your entire warband, so no double dipping. Pledging yourself for the week will give you access to world quests, and ranking up each leader once will also advance the big Severed Threads renown as well, so the goal is to eventually max them all out. I'll be planning a video to give you the full download on Azj-Kahet as a whole, so keep an eye out for that. Heading over to Farron and Dornagal will give you a weekly with a choice of activity to do for a big cache, and any other weeklies will be identifiable by these blue icons, with the ones that look a little spiky awarding endgame level rewards. These are the big boy reward weeklies. These purple triangle quest markers you may have seen around are mostly like tutorial quests about certain features, or they actually unlock something for you, so knock those out too. There are also some interesting mounts to farm for, and there are always groups going for these as well. I won't go into detail here, but they're out there. And for now, these are all the main things to do at max level. There are plenty of smaller things I didn't go over, but hopefully have pointed you in the right direction that you want to start first. Season 1 starts on September 10th, which will bring a bunch of new activities to do as well. I'll be sure to cover those when the season goes live. I want to know, what are you guys looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments. Other than that, go ahead and drop a like if you enjoy how I do things here, and subscribe to get us to the current sub goal of 500. Every little bit helps. Until next time, I'll see you out there in Kaz Elgar. Stay safe, bros.